everyone, welcome back to another virtual field trip. Today we're going to talk about Anna Johanna Krause and her little brother Gottlob, two of the first children who were born in Bethabara, but because of their parents' early deaths, they had to be raised by the Moravian community. Anna Johanna and Gottlob's parents, Barbara and Matthias, were married in Herrenhag, Germany in May 1743, along with several other Moravian couples. These newlyweds made the journey to America, arriving in Nazareth, Pennsylvania in January 1744. The Krauses had 4 children there. In 1755, they were sent to Bethabara by the church. They were one of the first married couples to make the trip down the Great Wagon Road. Because of unsafe conditions in the fledgling town and the need for adults to spend most of their time working in the communal economy, Barbara and Matthias had to leave their children behind in the nursery in Pennsylvania. You can imagine how difficult this must have been, but Moravian couples often left their young children behind when they were called by the church to go to far-reaching Moravian towns or mission sites. Parents knew their children would be raised by members of the church. Barbara gave birth to Anna Johanna on May 11, 1756. She was the first child born and baptized in Bethabara. Her brother Gottlob was born on September 18, 1760. A year later, Barbara died. Because Matthias had to continue working, Barbara's death called for the immediate establishment of a nursery, one for boys and one for girls, and the 2 children were separated. Matthias passed away just a year after his wife, leaving Gottlob and Anna Johanna orphans. Anna Johanna and Gottlob were both described as delicate children, with Anna Johanna suffering from headaches and nosebleeds, but she eventually grew out of them. Sister Ernst took over her care, and at age 12 she joined the older girls' choir and served in the common housekeeping there. Okay, let's pause. A choir is not the singing type most of you are used to. The choir system was the way the Moravians organized their communities and served as your spiritual family. Choirs were separated by gender and by life stage. Unmarried women, or single sisters, made up a choir, as did older girls and little girls, married sisters and widows. Men were separated in this way as well. Your choir provided support for you as you went through similar life events. Back to Anna Johanna. In 1772, most of the older girls and single sisters moved to Salem, but Anna Johanna stayed behind in Bethabara with a few other sisters and worked for a time in the tavern. Meanwhile, an orphanage was established in Bethabara in 1770 for the 3 parentless boys living there. On April 9th of that year, Frederick Marshall reported, little Gottlob Krause, who has been in the care of brother and sister Backoff in Bethania, returned to Bethabara. To date, we have had a day school for our boys, but no institution in which they could live. This can be no longer postponed. Gottlob wasn't in the orphanage for long, though. A year later, Potter Gottfried Aust and his wife adopted him and took him with them when they moved to Salem. Aust was a bit of a grump, and Gottlob had a reputation for bad behavior, so they didn't exactly get along well. In 1773, against the boys' wishes as well as the church's, Aust made Gottlob his apprentice and began to teach him the potter's trade. As you can imagine, this just led to more clashes, to the point where Aust actually kicked Gottlob out of his home and shop in 1776. Sometime later, Gottlob returned to Aust's shop, but this time he was supervised by potter Rudolf Christ. The reunion of Aust and Gottlob did not last long, as Aust released him from his apprenticeship a few months early so that he could take up the masonry trade. Around the same time Gottlob left Aust's home for the last time, Anna Johanna joined the other single sisters in Salem and was one of the first sisters to live in their new choir house when it was finished in 1786. There she served as housekeeper and as the room supervisor of the older girls' choir, where she made sure order was kept among the young women. Anna Johanna's model behavior and service to her choir got the attention of the church elders. Soon after, she became an acolyte for the church and assisted the ordained minister with the Holy Communion. And in 1788, she was nominated to become a member of the Helper Conference, one of several important councils that governed the residents of Wachovia. During the time in which Anna Johanna was advancing within the church, Gottlob Krause became Master Mason in Salem. He made bricks for walls, clay roof tiles, paving bricks for the town, and more. He contributed to the building of the boys' school, the Christoph Vogler House, the Winkler Bakery, the Vierling House, the tavern, and the Single Sisters House where Anna Johanna lived. In 1789, now married with a son, Gottlob moved to Bethabara to take over Rudolf Christ's pottery shop. In that year, he bought Johanna Schwab Jr.'s brick home, now known in Bethabara as the Potter's House. While in Bethabara, Gottlob made utilitarian pieces of pottery much like what Aust made. In 1802, illness forced him to sell his potter's shop and house to John Butner. Gottlob died soon after of what was believed to be dropsy on November 4, 1802, at the age of 42. Dropsy is the old-fashioned term for edema, which is when fluid collects in the cavities and tissues of the body. As for Anna Johanna, she continued to live with her choir in the Single Sisters house. Later in life, she made at least 2 trips to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, once in 1804 and again in 1813. Around the time of the second trip, she had painful swelling in her legs, and it was thought it might do her good to go up north and visit relatives. However, when she returned, her condition was no better, and she was diagnosed with dropsy, just as her brother had been, and in 1815, at the age of 58, Anna Johanna died. To learn more about the stories of the many people who lived in Bethabara, please check out our website, and please plan to make a visit to Bethabara once we reopen for tours.